the paradox of effort and the secret power of sleep. While you sleep, your subconscious mind is still listening. Your conscious mind may grow quiet. Your body may become still. Your eyes may close to the outer world. But beneath the surface, something deeper continues to absorb, organize, release, and rebuild the invisible patterns that shape your life. This is not just another sleep audio. This is a nightly reprogramming ritual for the part of you that has been running your life from beneath the surface. You have spent so many waking hours trying to change, trying to work harder, trying to think better, trying to heal faster, trying to manifest more, trying to become someone new, and yet, maybe you still go to bed with a heavy mind. Bills unfinished, messages unanswered, goals still waiting, a body that feels tired, but a mind that will not let go. And somewhere deep inside, you may have asked yourself, why am I trying so hard? And still feeling the same? But what if the deepest transformation does not begin when you are forcing? What if it begins when the body feels safe enough to soften? Sleep is not empty time. Sleep is the hidden workshop of the subconscious. The final thoughts you carry into sleep matter. The final emotion you rest in matters. The final story you tell yourself matters. Because your subconscious mind does not respond only to logic. It responds to feeling. It responds to repetition. It responds to imagery. And most of all, it responds to safety. You cannot bully your subconscious into becoming new. You must make it feel safe enough to release the old. Tonight, you are entering the Radiant Surrender Protocol, a soft passage through safety, release, receiving, and surrender. You are not here to force a new life into existence. You are here to stop fighting the old one. So take one slow breath. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw soften. Let your hands unclench, and quietly affirm within yourself, I am ready to let the old program dissolve. I am safe to soften. I am safe to receive. I am safe to become new. Tonight, you do not need to chase transformation. Let the body rest. Let the deeper mind open. And let this be the beginning of the life that has been quietly calling you from within. Chapter 1. Why trying so hard keeps you stuck in a small apartment on the north side of Chicago. Emily Carter ended most nights the same way. Her laptop was still open. Her planner was still full. Her phone rested beside her pillow, glowing with reminders, banking alerts, unread messages, and one more video promising to change her life. On the wall above her desk, she had taped affirmations in neat black ink. I am successful. I am abundant. I am healed. I am becoming my highest self. Every morning, Emily tried again. She woke before sunrise, made coffee, opened her journal, and forced herself into discipline. She listened to motivational audio on the drive to work. She repeated affirmations while sitting in traffic. She tracked her habits, counted her steps, checked her goals, and measured her progress, like someone trying to prove she was finally becoming enough. From the outside, she looked committed. But at night, when the city softened beyond her window and the sound of traffic became distant and low, the truth returned. Her shoulders were tight. Her jaw was clenched. Her chest felt guarded. Her mind replayed everything unfinished. The email she forgot to send. The bill waiting on the kitchen counter. The dream that still seemed far away. The quiet fear that everyone else was moving faster. So she would lie in bed and whisper the words again. I am safe. I am abundant. Everything is working out. But beneath the affirmation, her body was speaking a different language. I am afraid. I am behind. I am not there yet. You may recognize this in yourself. The late night scrolling, the unfinished list, the pressure to be better by morning, the feeling that if you could just push harder, think cleaner, visualize longer, or repeat the right sentence enough times, something inside you would finally unlock. But this is where many people misunderstand the subconscious mind. Your subconscious does not respond only to the words you say. It responds to the state you are in when you say them. It listens to your breath. It listens to your tension. It listens to the feeling beneath the thought. An affirmation spoken from fear often carries the signal of fear. A vision held with desperation often carries the signal of lack. A prayer whispered through panic often tells the deeper mind that danger is still present. And when the body feels unsafe, the subconscious does not open for transformation. It protects. It repeats the familiar. It holds the old pattern. It keeps the same inner program running because, to the deeper mind, familiar often feels safer than new. This is why trying harder is not always the answer. You cannot bully your subconscious into becoming new. You cannot shame it into peace. You cannot pressure it into abundance. You cannot force it to release an old identity while your body is still bracing for impact. The subconscious is not a locked door to be broken open. It is a quiet room that opens when the whole house feels safe. If you pound on that door, the house tightens. But if you place your hand on it gently, breathe and wait with calm certainty, the atmosphere changes. The door no longer feels threatened, it feels invited. Tonight, this is the first lesson of the Radiant Surrender Protocol. You do not become new by attacking the old self. You become new by making the body safe enough to release it. Perhaps the fear you carry was once trying to protect you. Perhaps the doubt was once trying to prevent disappointment. Perhaps the old pattern is not your enemy, but an outdated guardian still standing at the gate. So tonight, do not fight it. Do not shame the part of you that worries. Do not reject the part of you that still feels behind. Do not criticize the part of you that has not yet learned how to trust. Speak to it gently. Let your body know the day is complete. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw soften. Let your hands open. Take one slow breath in, and as you exhale, silently say, I do not have to force my transformation. Again, breathe in softly and breathe out. I am safe to soften. Once more, breathe in and breathe out. I am safe to receive. Let these words move through the body, not as commands, but as permission. You are not forcing the subconscious to obey. You are teaching it that the old defense can finally rest. And as the first layer of tension begins to loosen, the night can begin its deeper work. Because once the body becomes safe enough to soften, sleep reveals what it has always been. Not empty time, not wasted hours, but the hidden workshop where the subconscious begins to rebuild the life you are ready to receive. Chapter 2. Sleep is not empty time. Daniel Brooks was winning the day and losing the night. He lived in Austin, Texas, in a glass apartment above the city, where the lights stayed bright long after sunset. From the outside, his life looked successful. His calendar was full. His inbox never stopped moving. His phone flashed with market updates, client messages, meeting reminders, and one more problem that could not wait until morning. So Daniel kept going. One more email, one more plan, one more hour. He told himself this was discipline, but every night, he carried the pressure of the day straight into bed. His body was under the blanket, but his mind was still at the office. His head was on the pillow, but his nervous system was still preparing for tomorrow's battle. His eyes were closed, but inside, he was still answering messages no one had sent yet. And every morning, he woke tired before the day had even begun. You may know this feeling. The body is lying down, but the mind is still negotiating with life, still solving, still rehearsing, still trying to make sure nothing falls apart. But sleep was never meant to be a collapse from exhaustion. Sleep is a return to the deeper intelligence within you. While your conscious mind rests, your subconscious mind continues its quiet work. It gathers the emotional signals you carried through the day. It stores what was repeated. It strengthens what was felt deeply. It listens to the final message you bring into the night. This is why your last inner state matters. If you fall asleep in fear, the deeper mind receives fear. If you fall asleep in resentment, it receives conflict. If you fall asleep in scarcity, it receives the message that life is not enough. The subconscious does not argue with the state you give it. It accepts, it organizes, it continues the pattern while you sleep. But when you enter sleep with safety, gratitude, release, and quiet certainty, the night receives a different instruction. While your body sleeps, the deeper mind begins to sort the old weight from the useful wisdom. While your conscious mind lets go, something beneath the surface begins arranging what you are ready to carry forward. While the world is dark and still, your inner world is being quietly shaped by the signal you gave it before sleep. Think of your mind as a library after closing time. During the day, every experience becomes a book. Every conversation, every worry, every small disappointment, every moment of beauty, every thought you repeated without noticing. At night, the library needs silence. If you rush in carrying noise, screens, arguments, and unfinished pressure, the shelves remain crowded and disordered. But if you enter gently, place the day on the table, and step back, the inner librarian begins its sacred work. The useful lessons are kept. The heavy pages are softened. The old stories are returned to their proper shelves. And space is made for something new. This is what Daniel slowly learned. He stopped treating sleep as lost productivity. He began treating it as part of his transformation. Each night, instead of dragging every problem into bed, he imagined placing the whole day inside that quiet library, the missed calls, the hard conversations, the unfinished tasks, the fear of not being enough. He placed them all on a wooden table beneath a warm golden lamp. Then he whispered, "This day is complete. Take what is useful, release what is heavy, prepare me for tomorrow." At first, nothing dramatic happened. only a small softening. His breath slowed, his shoulders dropped, his mornings became a little less heavy, and night after night, that small softening became a new program. So tonight, before you drift away, imagine placing this entire day into the hands of your deeper mind. You do not have to hold it anymore. Say quietly within yourself, "This day is complete. I keep the wisdom. I release the weight. I allow the night to restore me. The conscious mind may sleep, but the deeper mind knows the way." Chapter 3. The Sacred Space Between Waking and Dreaming. Sarah Whitman did not realize she was bringing the whole world into bed with her. She lived in a quiet suburb outside Seattle, where rain often tapped softly against the windows at night. Her bedroom should have felt peaceful. The lamp beside her bed glowed warm amber. The blankets were soft, the room was still. But Sarah's mind was not still. Every night, she promised herself she would sleep earlier. And every night, she reached for her phone. One message, one headline, one short video, one quick look at what everyone else was doing. But a few minutes became 30, then 40, then an hour. By the time she placed the screen face down, her body was tired. But her nervous system was awake with images, opinions, comparisons, and unfinished noise. She closed her eyes, but the world kept flashing behind them. You may know this moment. The lights are off. The room is quiet. The body is ready. But the mind is still scrolling, still comparing, still solving, still carrying a world it was never meant to hold through the night. Yet beneath that noise is one of the most powerful spaces in your day, the space between waking and dreaming. This is the theta window, not as a lesson to study, but as a doorway to feel. It is the soft threshold where the conscious mind loosens its grip. The part of you that analyzes, judges, plans, and argues begins to grow quiet. And as it softens, the deeper mind becomes more available. Not through logic, through feeling, through image, through repetition, through the final emotional atmosphere you bring into sleep. What you carry through this doorway matters. If you bring panic, the deeper mind receives panic. If you bring comparison, it receives comparison. If you bring the pressure to solve your entire life before morning, the night has no silence to work with. But if you bring softness, safety, gratitude, and a quiet feeling of trust, the doorway opens differently. Think of this moment as a moonlit door between two worlds. Behind you is the day, the noise, the striving, the messages, the version of you that had to perform, answer, manage, and protect. Before you is the dream world, the inner garden, the silent library, the place where the subconscious can sort, soften, restore, and begin again. You do not rush through this doorway. You pause, you breathe, you set down what cannot come with you. This is what Sarah began to practice. One rainy evening, she placed her phone across the room instead of beside her pillow. At first, the silence felt uncomfortable. Her hand reached for the screen out of habit. Her mind asked for noise, but she stayed. She turned off the lamp, placed one hand on her chest, and listened to the rain. For the first time in a long time, there was space between Sarah and the world. In that space, she whispered, "I am crossing from effort into ease." Her breath slowed. "I leave the day behind." Her shoulders softened. "My deeper mind is listening now." That night, sleep did not feel like something she had to chase. It felt like something she was allowed to enter. Tonight, you can begin the same way. Imagine yourself standing before a quiet doorway under moonlight. Behind you is the day. Let it remain there. Take a slow breath in, and as you exhale, say quietly within yourself, "I am crossing from effort into ease." Breathe in again and breathe out, "I leave the day behind." One more slow breath, and whisper, "My deeper mind is listening now." Let the body grow heavier. Let the room grow softer. Let the world move farther away. You are not forcing sleep. You are entering the threshold. And beyond this threshold, your subconscious begins to receive. Chapter 4. The Law of Reversed Effort. Violet Monroe used to fight for sleep. Every night, in her small coastal home in Oregon, she would lie in bed with the lights off, body exhausted, mind wide awake. She tried everything, counting backward, changing pillows, checking the clock, turning over, telling herself, "Sleep now. You have to sleep now." But the more she tried to force sleep, the farther sleep seemed to move away. Her body became tense from trying to relax. Her mind became louder from trying to be quiet. And by morning, she was not only tired, she was angry at herself for being tired. You may know this pattern. The harder you try to stop thinking, the more thoughts appear. The harder you try to feel peaceful, the more you notice your tension. The harder you try to manifest from fear, the more distant your desire can feel. This is the law of reversed effort. There are certain doors inside the mind that do not open when pushed. Sleep is one of them. Peace is one of them. Trust is one of them. Receiving is one of them, and the subconscious mind is one of them. The subconscious does not open deeply to pressure. It opens to permission. This is why your final state before sleep matters more than your final thought alone. A beautiful affirmation spoken through panic still carries panic. A clear vision held with desperation still carries lack. A desire gripped too tightly still tells the deeper mind that you are not safe without it. So tonight, you are not learning how to force your desire into existence. You are learning relaxed focus. Relaxed focus is the art of holding the image without holding your breath. It means you can want peace without panicking about its absence. You can welcome abundance without declaring war on your current life. You can imagine a new self without attacking the person you have been. Think of water resting in your palm. If you squeeze your hand too tightly, the water escapes through your fingers. But when your palm opens, soft and steady, the water can remain. Your desire, your peace, your sleep, even your new identity respond in the same way. They do not need to be chased into existence. They need to be allowed. One evening, after months of battling her own body, Violet finally stopped trying to sleep. She turned the clock away. She let go of counting the hours. She placed one hand on her stomach and whispered, "Even if sleep takes time, I am allowed to rest." That sentence changed the room, not because it was magic, because it ended the war. For the first time, Violet stopped treating sleep as a performance she could fail. She let the bed hold her. She listened to the waves beyond her window. She breathed slowly, not to force sleep, but to be kind to the body that had carried her all day. And then, without noticing when it happened, sleep came. Tonight, bring one desire into your awareness, something you have been gripping too tightly, a result, a person, a number, a future version of yourself. Now imagine this desire as a small light resting in your open palm. Do not close your fist around it. Do not push it away. Simply let it glow. Breathe in softly. And as you exhale, say within yourself, "What is aligned with me does not require force." One more slow breath. And whisper, "I allow what is meant for me to come naturally." Let the hands soften. Let the chest soften. Let the mind stop reaching. You are not abandoning your desire. You are releasing the panic around it. And in that release, the subconscious receives a different message. Not desperation, not lack, not fear, but trust. This is the first cleansing of the night. The moment you stop pushing against the door and allow it to open from within. Chapter 5. The digital sunset. Nancy Reed thought she was relaxing. Every night in her apartment in San Diego, she would turn off the overhead lights, crawl into bed, and reach for her phone. She told herself it was only a small reward after a long day, a few messages. One news update, one short video, one scroll through other people's lives. But the screen did not calm her. It filled her mind with motion. Headlines that carried urgency. Images that invited comparison. Arguments that had nothing to do with her life, yet somehow entered her body as tension. Faces, opinions, numbers, problems, and perfect-looking lives all pouring into the final doorway before sleep. By the time Nancy turned the phone over, the room was dark, but her mind was bright with noise. Her body was ready for rest. Her subconscious had just been handed 1,000 signals. You may know this pattern. You call it unwinding, but afterward you feel more awake. You call it checking in, but afterward you feel behind. You call it entertainment, but your nervous system receives it as stimulation, comparison, and threat. This is why the evening matters. The hour before sleep is not ordinary. It is the entrance hall of the subconscious. Whatever you place there becomes part of the atmosphere your deeper mind carries into the night. The images, sounds, conversations, and emotional tones you consume before sleep do not simply disappear when you close your eyes. They become impressions, they become echoes, they become seeds. This is not about fearing the modern world. It is about choosing what is allowed to enter your inner garden before the night begins its work. Think of sunset. The sun does not fall suddenly from the sky, it lowers slowly. It softens the edges of buildings, quiets the brightness of the day, and gives the world permission to become gentle. Your nervous system needs a sunset too, not just outside the window, inside the body. A digital sunset is the practice of letting the outer world grow dim before you ask the inner world to open. One evening, after months of restless sleep, Nancy tried something different. She placed her phone in the kitchen 1 hour before bed. At first, the silence felt uncomfortable. Her hand reached toward a device that was not there. Her mind searched for the next signal, but then the apartment began to change. She lowered the lights, she made a cup of warm tea. She opened the window and listened to the distant sound of traffic moving like a low ocean beyond the buildings. She played soft instrumental music, and for the first time in weeks, she felt the day begin to leave her body before her head touched the pillow. Nothing dramatic happened, only a small clearing, a little less noise, a little more space, a little more room for the subconscious to hear a new message. Tonight, begin your own digital sunset. Not as a rule, not as punishment, not as another thing to perfect, as a sacred dimming. Let the screens go dark before your mind does. Let the alerts wait outside the door. Let the world's urgency remain in the world. And as you prepare for sleep, say quietly within yourself, the world can wait. My peace is allowed to begin now. I choose what enters my mind before sleep. Imagine turning off 1,000 tiny lights inside your thoughts. One by one, softly, without force, the room grows quieter, the body grows heavier, the night grows kinder, and in this quiet, the subconscious receives the first cleansing of the evening. Not more noise, but space. Chapter 6. The Bowl of Unfinished Thoughts. Michael Harris was not kept awake by the things he had done. He was kept awake by the things he was afraid he would forget. In his small apartment outside Denver, his nights became a second workday. He would lie in bed with the lights off while his mind opened every unfinished file. The bill due Friday, the meeting at 9, the message he had not answered, the oil change he kept postponing, the conversation that felt unresolved, the idea he needed to remember in the morning. His body was still. His mind was carrying a clipboard. Again and again, the same thoughts returned, not because they were useful, but because his brain believed they were unsafe to release. You may know this feeling. You are tired, but your mind keeps repeating the list. You want to sleep, but some part of you insists on staying awake to guard tomorrow. You tell yourself, I need to let this go. But the mind answers, if I let it go, who will hold it? This is the secret behind many restless nights. The mind loops because it is trying to protect you. It repeats what feels unfinished. It rehearses what feels uncertain. It clings to what it believes must not be forgotten. So the answer is not to attack the mind for thinking. The answer is to give the mind a place to set things down. This is the gentle brain dump. Not a productivity system, not a plan for tomorrow. Not another list that demands performance. A release, a small ritual of placing the weight somewhere outside the body so the nervous system no longer has to carry it through the night. Think of a simple bowl beside the bed. Not a bowl made of glass or clay, but a quiet symbolic bowl in the deeper mind. Into it you place the unfinished thoughts of the day. Not to solve them, not to analyze them, only to show the mind that they have been held. One evening, Michael sat at his kitchen table with a blank piece of paper. He did not write a perfect plan. He did not organize his life. He simply wrote what was still moving inside him. I am worried about money. I need to call my sister. I am afraid I am falling behind. I do not know what to do about work. I am tired of pretending I am fine. At first, the words looked heavy on the page. Then something strange happened. His mind grew quieter. The thoughts had not vanished, but they no longer needed to keep knocking. They had been seen. They had been placed down. They had been moved from the darkness of his chest into the gentle honesty of paper. That night, before bed, Michael whispered, "This is held now. I do not have to carry it through the night." And his body believed him a little. Tonight, you can begin the same practice. Before sleep, imagine a quiet bowl beside you. Into this bowl, place what remains unfinished. The task, the fear, the conversation, the decision, the worry you do not yet know how to solve. If you are writing, use 3 simple lines. What I release tonight, what I am grateful for, what I allow my subconscious to soften while I sleep. Do not try to write beautifully, write honestly. Then close the page. Place your hand over your heart and say, "This is held now. I do not have to carry it through the night." The deeper mind may soften what I cannot solve by force. Let the bowl hold what your nervous system no longer needs to guard. Let the page hold what your mind no longer needs to repeat. Let the night hold what your waking self has carried long enough. You are allowed to rest before everything is finished. You are allowed to sleep before everything is solved. And as you release the unfinished day, the subconscious receives a new message. I am safe to set this down. Chapter 7, The Alchemy of Forgiveness. Claire Bennett did not go to bed alone. Every night she brought old conversations with her. In her quiet home outside Nashville, she would turn off the lights, pull the blanket close, and suddenly hear the same words again. The comment from her coworker, the cold tone in a message, the friend who had disappointed her, the family member who never seemed to understand, the moment in the grocery store when a stranger's rudeness stayed in her body longer than it should have. Her bedroom was peaceful, but her heart was still in conflict. She would replay what she should have said. She would imagine proving her point. She would defend herself in conversations that were no longer happening anywhere, except inside her nervous system. By morning, she woke as if she had been arguing all night. You may know this pattern. The day ends, but the emotional charge remains. The person is gone, but their energy still lives in your chest. The moment has passed, but your body continues to hold it as if it is still unfolding. This is why forgiveness is not only a moral idea, it is an energetic release. Forgiveness does not mean you approve of what happened. It does not mean you deny the pain. It does not mean you invite harm back into your life. Forgiveness means you stop allowing yesterday's wound to keep spending tonight's energy. Every resentment carried into sleep becomes a signal the body continues to process. Every unspoken argument becomes a thread tying your subconscious to a moment that cannot be changed by replaying it. And the deeper mind, faithful as always, keeps working with whatever you bring it. If you bring conflict, it works with conflict. If you bring resentment, it works with resentment. If you bring release, it begins to create space. Think of your heart as a room filled with thin golden threads. Some threads connect you to love. Some connect you to hope. Some connect you to dreams that are still alive. But some threads connect you to moments that have already served their purpose. An insult, a disappointment, a betrayal, a small humiliation from a day that deserves to be over. Forgiveness is the gentle act of dissolving those threads so your energy can return home. One evening, Claire sat on the edge of her bed and placed her hand on her chest. She thought of one conversation that had followed her all day. At first, her body tightened. Then she whispered, "I release the charge from this moment. I take back my energy. I let the night cleanse what the day could not resolve." She did not feel perfect peace, but she felt a little more space. And sometimes that is where healing begins. Not in a grand emotional breakthrough, but in the moment you choose not to carry the same weight into another night. Tonight, bring to mind one moment from the day that still feels tight. Not the whole story, not every person who ever hurt you, only one small thread. See it gently, do not fight it, do not feed it. Just notice where it lives in the body, the chest, the throat, the stomach, the jaw. Now imagine a soft golden flame in the center of your heart, not burning with anger, but glowing with quiet wisdom. With every breath, let that light touch the thread and say within yourself, "I release the charge from this moment. I take back my energy. I let the night cleanse what the day could not resolve." If forgiveness feels too large, begin with willingness. I am willing to loosen this. I am willing to stop carrying this through sleep. I am willing to be free in my own body. Let the thread dissolve slowly. Let the heart become lighter. Let the subconscious receive a new instruction before sleep. I do not need resentment to protect me. I do not need replaying to restore my power. I can release what is complete. And as the old emotional charge begins to soften, the night becomes more spacious. The mind becomes cleaner. The body becomes quieter. The heart becomes available for something new. This is the alchemy of forgiveness. Not pretending nothing happened, but turning trapped energy back into peace. Chapter 8. The Body Believes. Before the mind explains, Olivia Grace repeated the right words every night. In her apartment in Phoenix, with a desert air cooling outside her window, she would sit on the edge of her bed and say, "I am abundant. I am wealthy. Money flows to me easily." She said the words clearly. She said them consistently. She wrote them in her journal. She whispered them before sleep. But every time she checked her bank account, her stomach tightened. Every time an unexpected bill arrived, her chest closed. Every time someone mentioned money, her breath became shallow. Her mouth said abundance. Her body said danger, and the subconscious listened to the body. This is where many people misunderstand affirmation. Words matter, but words are not the whole message. Your subconscious mind listens to the emotional atmosphere beneath the words. It listens to the face, the breath, the posture, the tension, the contraction, the expectation. It understands feeling before explanation. You can say, "I am safe," while your body prepares for threat. You can say, "I am enough," while your shoulders carry shame. You can say, "I receive abundance," while your chest quietly rejects receiving. The subconscious does not call you a liar. It simply follows the strongest signal. This does not mean affirmations are useless. It means they must become embodied. The body must be invited into the new belief. One night, Olivia stopped repeating the sentence for a moment and asked a different question. If abundance felt safe, how would my body breathe? She closed her eyes. At first, nothing changed. Then she imagined a life where she did not have to brace every time money was mentioned. She did not focus on numbers. She did not force a picture of luxury. She simply imagined the feeling of being supported. Her shoulders dropped a little. Her jaw softened. Her chest opened by a small degree. Her breath moved lower into her body. For the first time, abundance was not a word, it was a sensation. A warm golden light spreading through the ribcage. A feeling of there is enough air here. There is enough space here. There is enough support for this moment. This is how the subconscious begins to receive a new program. Not through pressure, through felt experience. Think of your body as the doorway through which belief enters the deeper mind. The mind may choose the sentence, but the body gives it weight. The words become powerful when the nervous system begins to taste them as safe. Tonight, do not simply think of abundance. Feel the smallest physical version of it. Let abundance be one deeper breath. Let it be a softer stomach. Let it be unclenched hands. Let it be a chest that no longer folds inward. Let it be the quiet sense that for this moment you are held. Place one hand on your heart. Place one hand on your lower belly. Breathe in gently, and as you exhale, say, I do not chase abundance. I become available to receive it. Again, breathe in and breathe out. My body is learning that good things are safe. One more slow breath and whisper, there is enough for this breath. There is enough for this night. There is enough for me to soften. Feel a warm golden light spreading inside the chest. Not dramatic, not forced, not imaginary in a way that strains the mind. Simple, gentle, physical. The body believes before the mind explains. And as your body begins to believe in safety, your subconscious receives a message deeper than words. I am allowed to receive. Chapter 9. Resetting the Worthiness Thermostat. Rachel Morgan wanted more from life. More ease, more money, more love, more opportunity, more space to breathe. But in her daily life, she rejected small goodness without noticing. When someone complimented her work, she laughed and said, oh, it was nothing. When a friend offered help, she answered too quickly, no, I'm fine. When an opportunity appeared, she looked for the hidden problem. When life gave her a small gift, she felt suspicious instead of grateful. Rachel asked the universe for more, but her subconscious had been trained to say no. You may recognize this pattern. You want to receive, but receiving feels uncomfortable. You want abundance, but attention feels unsafe. You want support, but needing support feels weak. You want love, but kindness makes you wonder what it will cost. This is not because you are broken. It is because your inner thermostat may be set to a familiar level of receiving. A thermostat does not judge the room. It simply returns the temperature to what it has been programmed to maintain. In the same way, the subconscious often returns you to the level of goodness that feels familiar, not necessarily the level of goodness you consciously desire. If struggle has felt normal, ease may feel suspicious. If rejection has felt familiar, acceptance may feel strange. If scarcity has been repeated long enough, abundance may feel like something that cannot be trusted. This is why receiving must be practiced gently, not by demanding a dramatic miracle, but by saying yes to small kindness. Rachel began with one simple practice. She stopped deflecting compliments. The next time her coworker said, "You did a great job on that presentation," Rachel felt the old sentence rise in her throat. Oh, it was nothing, but this time she paused. She breathed and she said, "Thank you, I received that." It felt awkward, almost too simple, but her body noticed. A small warmth moved through her chest. A door opened by an inch. Her subconscious received a new instruction. Goodness can come toward me, and I do not have to push it away. That night, Rachel lay in bed and remembered the compliment. Instead of shrinking from it, she let herself feel it again, not as ego, not as pride, but as practice, a small act of receiving. The worthiness thermostat had moved by 1 degree. This is how the inner capacity expands, little by little, breath by breath, yes by yes. Tonight, remember one small thing life gave you today: a kind word, a warm drink, a moment of quiet, a helpful message, a door held open, a problem that did not become worse, a breath you did not have to earn. Do not dismiss it, let it count. Place your hand over your heart and say, "Yes, I receive this." Breathe in gently and say, "It is safe for life to be kind to me." Breathe out, "It is safe for good things to stay." Imagine an inner thermostat turning slowly toward warmth. Not too fast, not beyond what your body can hold. Just 1 degree more open, 1 degree more worthy, 1 degree more available to the good that has been trying to reach you. You do not need to force yourself to feel deserving of everything tonight. Only this breath. Only this small good. Only this quiet yes. And as you fall asleep, let the subconscious receive a new pattern. I can receive without fear. I can accept without guilt. I can allow goodness to remain. Chapter 10. The art of receiving. Matthew Allen had built his identity around needing no one. In a small town outside Asheville, North Carolina, he ran a repair shop with tired hands and quiet pride. If something broke, he fixed it. If the bills came, he handled them. If he was overwhelmed, he said nothing. People admired him for being dependable. But inside, Matthew was exhausted. He gave advice, he gave time. He gave money when he could. He gave strength even when his own body was asking for rest. But when life tried to give back, he refused. A friend offered to help repaint the front of his shop. Matthew said, "Don't worry about it." A neighbor offered to bring dinner after a long week. Matthew said, "I'm good." A customer praised his work and offered to recommend him widely. Matthew changed the subject. He thought self-reliance was power. But slowly, it became isolation. You may know this pattern. It is possible to ask the universe for abundance while refusing the small channels through which abundance arrives: support, compliments, opportunities, kindness, rest, help. Receiving is not weakness. Receiving is part of the rhythm of life. The breath teaches this perfectly. You cannot only exhale, you cannot only give. You cannot only pour out and never let anything return. The body survives through both. Inhale and exhale, giving and receiving, offering and allowing. Abundance moves the same way. When you block receiving, you do not become noble. You become closed, and the subconscious learns that incoming good is unsafe, inconvenient, or undeserved. One afternoon, Matthew's friend Ray showed up at the shop with a paintbrush in one hand and coffee in the other. This time, before Matthew could refuse, Ray said, "Let somebody help you for once." Matthew felt the old resistance rise, the need to prove he could manage, the discomfort of being seen, the fear that receiving meant owing, but he was too tired to keep performing strength. So he took a breath and said, "Thank you, I received that." The sentence felt strange, but the day changed. They painted the shop together, they laughed. Customers stopped by and noticed. By the end of the week, 3 new appointments had been scheduled because people had seen the renewed storefront. Help had not made Matthew smaller. It had opened a channel. This is the art of receiving, not grabbing, not demanding, not waiting for life to rescue you. Opening, allowing, letting the good that is already moving towards you find a place to land. Think of a bowl under moonlight. The bowl does not chase the light. It does not apologize for being empty. It simply opens upward, and because it is open, it can be filled. Tonight, imagine a bowl of soft golden light resting in your chest. With every inhale, the bowl opens. With every exhale, the old resistance softens. Breathe in and say, "I open the channel of receiving." Breathe out and say, "I release the belief that I must struggle to deserve good." Again, breathe in. "I allow life to give to me in gentle and unexpected ways." Breathe out. "I am safe to receive." Let this receiving be quiet. Let it begin with the bed holding your body. Let it begin with the air entering your lungs. Let it begin with the night offering you rest without asking you to prove anything first. You do not have to chase everything. Some things are trying to come towards you. Your task is to become open enough to let them arrive. Chapter 11, the story of enoughness. Leona Parker began every morning by measuring herself against someone else. Before her feet touched the floor, she reached for her phone. In seconds, her mind entered a world of polished kitchens, perfect bodies, bigger homes, engagement photos, promotions, vacations, and lives that seemed to be moving faster than her own. She had not even stood up yet, but her subconscious had already received the first message of the day. "I am behind, I am lacking, I am not enough." By evening, that message had shaped everything. She worked harder, but felt smaller. She smiled in meetings, but compared herself silently. She repeated affirmations, but her body carried the ache of being late to a life she could not quite reach. You may know this ache, the feeling that everyone else has found the door, the feeling that your life is taking too long, the feeling that you must become more before you are allowed to rest. But enoughness is not the end of desire. Enoughness is the ground from which healthy desire can grow. To say I am enough does not mean I never want to expand. It does not mean I stop dreaming. It does not mean I settle for a life that does not feel true. It means I do not have to hate myself into becoming. This is important for the subconscious mind, because a desire built on self-rejection carries self-rejection into the future. A goal built on shame often keeps shame alive even when the goal is reached. A dream chased from the belief I am not enough may create more proof that enoughness is always somewhere else. Leona did not change in a single morning, but one night she placed her phone across the room and sat quietly before sleep. She imagines a simple glass cup in her hands. For years, she had compared herself to oceans, to people with more, to lives that looked fuller, to timelines that seemed faster. But in the stillness, she realized something. The cup does not fail because it is not the ocean. The cup only needs to be opened to receive what is meant to fill it. That image softened her. She placed one hand over her heart and whispered, "I am enough before anything changes." The words felt unfamiliar, so she said them again. "I am enough while I am becoming." Her breathing slowed. "I am enough to receive more." For the first time, wanting more did not feel like proof that she was incomplete. It felt like life expanding through someone already worthy. Tonight, let this truth enter gently. You do not need to become perfect before the subconscious can begin to change. You do not need to reach the goal before you are allowed to feel peace. You do not need to become someone else before you are worthy of receiving. Good. Place one hand on your heart. Breathe in slowly. And as you exhale, say, "I am enough before anything changes." Breathe in again. "I am enough while I am becoming." One more slow breath. "I am enough to receive more." Let the words move downward into the body. Not as a performance, not as a slogan, not as something you must force yourself to believe perfectly tonight. Let them be a seed. A soft seed planted in the deeper mind. The old story says, "I must become more to be worthy." The new story says, "I am worthy as I become." And as this story takes root, the architecture of abundance begins to change. Not from pressure, from enoughness. Chapter 12. The safety signal now. Let the practice become quieter. You have released some of the noise of the evening. You have placed unfinished thoughts down. You have loosened emotional charge. You have opened the body to receiving. You have remembered that you are enough while you are becoming. And now the final doorway before sleep begins. The body must receive the signal that the day is over, not intellectually, physically. The mind may understand the words "I am safe," but the body needs rhythm. It needs breath. It needs softness. It needs proof that in this moment, nothing is being demanded from it. You do not have to solve your life tonight. You do not have to answer every question. You do not have to predict every outcome. You do not have to complete the entire journey before morning. Right now, your only task is to let the body know it can stand down. So begin here. Let your back feel supported. Let the bed hold more of your weight. Let the room exist around you without needing anything from you. If your eyes are closed, allow the darkness behind them to become soft. If your eyes are open, let your gaze rest on one quiet point. Now bring your attention to your breath. Do not force it. Do not perform it. Do not make it perfect. Just notice that the breath is already happening. Life is still moving through you without your effort. Now inhale gently for 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold softly for 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale slowly for 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Again, inhale gently. Let the breath enter like a quiet wave. Hold softly, not with tension, but with stillness. Exhale slowly. Let the day leave through the breath. If the count feels too much, release the count. The goal is not control. The goal is safety. Let every exhale say to the body, "You are safe now. You are allowed to rest. You do not have to solve your life tonight." Imagine that beneath you, invisible hands are rising from the earth, from the bed, from the night itself. They hold your heels. They hold your legs. They hold your hips. They hold your spine. They hold your shoulders. They hold the back of your head. You are not falling. You are being supported. Let the stomach soften. Let the chest soften. Let the space between the eyebrows soften. There is nothing to chase in this moment. Nothing to prove. Nothing to repair before sleep can receive you. Now breathe again. Inhale, "I am safe now." Exhale, "I let the day end." My body can rest. Exhale, my deeper mind can open. The safety signal is simple. It is not a dramatic experience. It is the quiet moment when the body realizes it no longer has to guard the door. And when the body feels safe, the subconscious begins to become receptive. Not because you forced it, because you allowed the system to return to peace. Let this peace be enough for now. Let this breath be enough. Let this bed, this room, this moment be enough. You are safe now. You are allowed to rest. You do not have to solve your life tonight. Chapter 13. The gratitude scan. Now that the body has begun to receive safety, let the mind receive evidence of support. Not grand evidence, not perfect evidence, only small, honest evidence that life has not abandoned you. Gratitude is often misunderstood. It is not pretending everything is good. It is not denying what hurts. It is not forcing yourself to be cheerful when your body is tired. Gratitude is the practice of noticing where life is still giving, even quietly, even simply, even in ways the busy mind overlooks. Your subconscious mind expands what is repeatedly noticed with feeling. If the mind ends the day only counting threats, it strengthens the pattern of threat. If the mind ends the day noticing support, even small support, it begins to build a different inner map. So tonight, you will scan the day for 3 small stars, not achievements, not proof that everything is perfect. Just 3 moments of goodness. The first star, one thing that softened you. Maybe it was a warm drink, a song in the car, the way sunlight touched a wall, a moment when your body stopped rushing, a kind word, a deep breath you finally allowed yourself to take. Let one small moment come forward. Do not judge whether it is important enough. If it softened you even slightly, it counts. Hold it gently in the mind and say, thank you. Now the second star, one thing that supported you, maybe the bed beneath you, maybe the food that sustained you, maybe a message that arrived at the right time, maybe your own body carrying you through another day, maybe the fact that even tired, you are here now choosing peace. Let the moment appear and say, thank you. Now the third star, one thing that reminded you life is still moving with you. Maybe something was easier than expected. Maybe a problem did not become worse. Maybe you found a little strength you did not know you still had. Maybe tomorrow remains unwritten, and that itself is a mercy. Let this third star rise and say thank you. Now imagine these 3 moments as 3 small lights above you, not blinding, not dramatic. Soft stars in the inner sky, one for softness, one for support, one for possibility. Let them remain there as you breathe. With each inhale, receive their light. With each exhale, release the habit of ignoring what is already good. Say quietly within yourself, I notice the good, I welcome more of it. I let gratitude become my frequency tonight. Again, I notice the good, I welcome more of it. I let gratitude become my frequency tonight. Feel the difference between chasing gratitude and allowing gratitude. You do not have to force a feeling. Simply notice one true thing, then another, then another. This is how scarcity begins to loosen. Not because you deny what is missing, but because you stop giving all your attention to absence. The subconscious begins to learn. There is support here. There is softness here. There is goodness I am allowed to recognize. Let these 3 stars remain above you as the night carries you deeper. And if the mind wanders, return to the simplest prayer. Thank you for this breath. Thank you for this rest. Thank you for what is quietly becoming. Chapter 14. The golden script. Now the deeper mind is ready for simplicity, not many words, not a long list of wishes, not a desperate attempt to fix everything before sleep. The subconscious loves rhythm. It loves repetition. It loves emotion. It loves identity. It receives most deeply when the message is clear enough to pass through the mind and settle into the body. This is the golden script, a short sentence given to the subconscious before sleep, not as a task, as a lullaby. Many people weaken their inner programming by giving the mind too many commands at once. They repeat 20 affirmations while feeling pressure to believe them all. They visualize 5 futures while fearing none will happen. They try to change their money, health, confidence, relationships, identity, and destiny in one exhausted moment before bed. But the deeper mind does not need noise. It needs a clear signal. One sentence can become a seed. One sentence repeated with softness can become a pathway. One sentence carried into sleep can become the beginning of a new inner atmosphere. So tonight choose only one. I am safe, or I am whole, or I am enough, or I am becoming new, or good things flow to me naturally. My subconscious mind is reorganizing my life in my favor. Do not choose with pressure. Let the sentence choose you. Notice which one makes the body soften. Notice which one feels like medicine. Notice which one feels simple enough to carry into sleep without effort. Now imagine golden letters being written slowly across the inner sky, not by your hand, by the deeper mind. Each letter forms with warmth, each word glows softly, each repetition becomes less mental and more physical. Take your chosen sentence and repeat it once. Slowly, let it begin in the mind. Again, let it move toward the heart. Again, let it sink into the chest. Again, let it soften the stomach. Again, let it enter the breath. Again, let it become quieter than thought. Again, let it become a state. For example, I am safe. Pause, I am safe. Softer, I am safe. Deeper, I am safe. Gentler, I am safe. Almost silent, I am safe. Now let the words fade, but keep the feeling. This is the secret of the golden script. The words are the doorway. The feeling is the program. You are not trying to convince the conscious mind. You are offering the subconscious a new identity to rehearse while you sleep. If doubts appear, do not fight them. Let the golden sentence remain. If thoughts wander, not just chase them. Return softly. One sentence, one breath, one feeling. The old story was repeated many times, so the new story must be repeated too. But not with violence, with devotion, with tenderness, with the quiet certainty of someone planting a seed in the dark. Knowing the soil understands what to do. Let your golden script rest inside you now. Let it be the final language your deeper mind receives. And when the words become quiet enough, they stop being words. They become you. Chapter 15, Radiant Surrender. Now there is nothing more to add, nothing more to correct, nothing more to analyze, nothing more to prove before sleep can take you. You have softened the body. You have gathered gratitude. You have chosen the golden script. You have offered the subconscious a new signal. Now comes the final step, surrender. Not collapse, not giving up, not abandoning your desires. Surrender is the moment you stop gripping the how and allow the deeper intelligence within you to continue the work. This is radiant surrender, a surrender that is not dark, a surrender filled with quiet light. The old self believes it must stay awake to control the future. The new self learns to rest while the subconscious reorganizes the inner world. So let the body begin to release. Let the feet soften, the toes, the sole, the ankles. Let the legs soften, the calves, the knees, the thighs. Let the hips become heavy. Let the stomach unclench. Let the chest open just a little, as if the heart no longer has to stand guard. Let the shoulders drop away from the ears. Let the arms become warm and loose. Let the hands open. Let the jaw soften. Let the tongue rest. Let the eyes sink gently into stillness. Let the forehead smooth. Let the mind stop reaching. Imagine now that you are floating on a warm, dark ocean beneath a sky of stars. The water holds you completely. You do not need to swim. You do not need to search for the shore. You do not need to prove that you deserve to be carried. The ocean does not ask you to explain your past. It simply holds you. The stars above you are quiet. The night around you is endless and kind. Every breath makes you lighter. Every exhale releases another thread of control. Now silently say, I surrender the how. Breathe. I surrender the when. Breathe. I surrender the old self. Breathe. Tonight, my subconscious mind carries me gently toward the life that matches who I am becoming. Let the sentence move through you like a warm current. Again, softer, I surrender the how. I surrender the when. I surrender the old self. You do not need to know how every desire will arrive. You do not need to know when every door will open. You do not need to stay awake guarding the future from disappointment. The deeper mind has received the signal, safety, release, receiving, enoughness, trust. Now let the night do what the waking mind cannot do by force. Let it sort. Let it soften. Let it restore. Let it reorganize. If a thought appears, let it float by like a small wave. If a worry returns, let the ocean hold it too. If the old self tries to stand guard again, thank it gently and say, you may rest now. There is nothing more to chase tonight. Nothing more to prove. Nothing more to fix before you are allowed to sleep. Rest now. The deeper mind knows what to do. Radiant surrender is not the loss of power. It is the moment power stops fighting itself. And as you drift deeper, let this be your final offering to the night. I am safe. I am open. I am becoming. I release the old program into sleep. Chapter 16. The first 5 minutes of the new mind Lydia Stone used to lose the morning before she had even left the bed. Every day in her small apartment in Portland, she woke to the sound of her alarm and immediately reached for her phone. Within seconds, the world entered her mind. Messages, emails, notifications, other people's lives, other people's urgency. Before her feet touched the floor, the old self had already returned. The same pressure, the same comparison, the same quiet feeling of being behind. She did not realize that the morning was another doorway. Just as the moments before sleep opened the subconscious to the night, the first moments after waking shape the frequency of the day. The mind is still soft from dreaming. The deeper self is still near the surface. The inner world has not yet fully taken on the noise of the outer world. This is why the first 5 minutes matter, not because you must perform a perfect routine, but because the new program needs a gentle place to continue. One morning, Lydia did something different. The alarm rang. Her hand moved toward the phone. Then she stopped. She placed one hand on her heart. She let her eyes remain closed. She took one slow breath before letting the world in, and she whispered, "Today I move as the new version of myself." Nothing dramatic happened, but something was different. She had not given her first breath to urgency. She had not given her first thought to comparison. She had not handed the doorway of morning to the old program. She had chosen. Tonight, as you prepare for sleep, plant this instruction for morning. When you wake, do not reach immediately for the phone. Give yourself 5 minutes. Place one hand on the heart. Let the body remember the night. Let the breath return before the world enters. And say, "Today I move as the new version of myself," or "Today is allowed to surprise me in beautiful ways." The morning does not need to begin with control. It can begin with identity. And when identity is chosen before reaction, the day begins to rearrange around a different signal. Chapter 17. The morning that does not belong to the old self. Do not demand that tomorrow morning prove everything at once. This is important. The old self often wants immediate evidence, a sign, a message, a breakthrough, a perfect emotional state, a world that looks completely different by sunrise. But subconscious reprogramming is not always loud in the beginning. Sometimes the first miracle is subtle. You wake and reach for worry, but it does not grip you as tightly. You remember a problem, but your body does not collapse around it. You look at the same room, the same phone, the same life, but something in you responds with a little more space. That is not nothing. That is the new program beginning to breathe. The morning that does not belong to the old self may look ordinary from the outside. The same sunlight through the window, the same floor beneath your feet, the same calendar waiting, the same responsibilities. But inside, one small thing has changed. You do not meet the day from exactly the same fear. You do not speak to yourself with exactly the same harshness. You do not enter the world with exactly the same contraction. You do not abandon yourself as quickly as before. This is how transformation often begins, not as thunder, as first light, quiet, soft, steady. Light does not argue with the darkness. It simply arrives. So when you wake, let the first light teach you. Do not rush to become someone completely different. Simply choose not to hand the whole morning back to the old story. Take one breath. Remember one line from the night before. I am safe. I am enough. I am becoming new. Good things flow to me naturally. Let that line become your first step into the day. And if the world looks the same, do not lose faith. The seed does not fail because it has not become a tree overnight. The night plants, the morning waters. The day gives you practice, and each cycle teaches the subconscious that a new identity is safe to continue. Tomorrow morning, let this be your anchor. Today is allowed to surprise me in beautiful ways, not because you need to force surprise, but because you are no longer closing the door before life can enter. The old self may still speak. Let it speak softly in the background. You are choosing a new voice now, a calmer voice, a kinder voice, a voice that says, I do not need to repeat yesterday to survive today. And with that, the morning becomes more than a beginning. It becomes evidence that the night has started to work within you. Outro. Sleep into the life that is already calling you. You have now moved through the radiant surrender protocol, not as a rigid technique, as a quiet passage. You began by understanding that the subconscious cannot be forced into change. It opens through safety. It listens to the state beneath the words. It receives the emotional truth you carry into sleep. You learned that sleep is not empty time. It is the hidden workshop of the deeper mind. You crossed the sacred space between waking and dreaming, where the old day can be left behind and the subconscious becomes receptive to new impressions. You met the law of reversed effort, the truth that certain doors do not open when pushed. Sleep, peace, trust, receiving, the subconscious itself. You allowed the digital sunset to dim the noise of the outer world. You placed unfinished thoughts into the bowl of release. You practiced forgiveness as the return of your own energy. You invited abundance into the body as a feeling, not just a word. You began resetting the worthiness thermostat one small yes at a time. You opened the art of receiving. You planted the story of enoughness. Then you entered the final bedtime protocol, safety, gratitude, the golden script, radiant surrender. And now there is nothing more you need to do tonight. Subconscious reprogramming is not a single moment of force. It is a rhythm, a devotion, a nightly return, a spiral that rises quietly through repetition. Each night you teach the body safety. Each night you teach the mind a new story. Each night you teach the heart to receive. Each night you prove to the subconscious that the old program is not the only program available. Do not wait for a miracle to prove that this is working. Notice the small softening, the slower breath, the kinder sentence. The moment you do not react as quickly. The morning when worry has less authority than before. These are signs too. Quiet signs, real signs. The first lights of a new inner architecture. So tonight, do not struggle. Rest. Let the body sleep. Let the deeper mind listen. Let the old identity loosen. Let the new pattern begin. Sleep now in the quiet certainty that something within you is already rearranging. You are safe. You are becoming. You are allowed to receive. And by morning, even if the world looks the same, something inside you will have begun to glow differently.